I've played tons of games on a plethora of different consoles, spanning from the 70s all the way to now, and that's what I do every single day. Along the way, I've played games that I love, and I've played games that I hate, and what's unique about me is that I don't particularly care how popular a game is, or what others think about it. When I voice an opinion on a game, it's 100% my own, based on my own experience. Now, a while back, someone suggested a video talking about 10 games I hate that other people love, and I'm probably going to lose my gamer card here with this video, but if the comments are anything like they usually are, then we're going to have a blast with this, and hopefully I can make your day just a little bit better. Bear in mind that I can't take away any of the memories you have of these games, those are yours, and in the case of this video, it's just a guy who's bad at games complaining a little. Let's begin. Released by Sega in 1989, Golden Axe was designed as their answer to arcade beat-em-ups like Double Dragon, but with a Conan the Barbarian fantasy spin. It was a massive hit in arcades and it got ported everywhere, from the Genesis to the Master System. Golden Axe was supposed to make me feel like a barbarian warrior. Instead, it made me feel like I'd eaten too much Thanksgiving dinner and was now trying to fight goblins with a turkey leg. Everyone remembers it fondly. Couch co-op, riding dragons, epic arcade fun. But when you actually sit down with it, every swing of your weapon feels like it was programmed with a 2-second delay. Enemies casually walk up, smack you, and walk away like they've got something better to do. And when you do get the dragon, good luck staying on it. The thing controls like it's actively trying to throw you off. My friends were out here yelling, "Dude, this is a classic!" And I'm just sitting at the screen thinking, yeah, classic case of Stockholm Syndrome. Developed by Rare and released on the NES in 1990, Snake, Rattle, and Roll was one of Rare's earliest attempts at 3D-style isometric gameplay, long before they'd make classics like Donkey Kong Country, as well as Banjo-Kazooie. Now let me tell you something about Rare's beloved oddball, Snake, Rattle, and Roll. People call it creative, colorful, ahead of its time. Me, I call it the game that gave me trust issues. You're a snake and you eat these little balls. You get bigger, you move on. Simple, right? No! The isometric perspective makes the game feel like it's gaslighting you. You jump onto a platform and somehow you always miss. You line up perfectly and the game says, "Nuh-uh, you fell!" Every level feels like geometry homework, and not the easy kind, the cry into your textbook kind. I didn't feel like a fun-loving snake. I felt like a kid being shoved down the stairs holding a math test I failed. By the end, I wasn't celebrating victory. I was celebrating the fact that I didn't break the controller in half. Namco released Dragon Spirit in the arcades in 1987 as a vertical shoot-'em-up meant to rival hits like Xevious. It stood out because instead of a spaceship, which most vertical shooters tended to be, you controlled a massive fire-breathing dragon. It later came to the NES and PC Engine. Here's the thing about Dragon Spirit though, it looks like the coolest game you've ever seen. A giant dragon soaring across the screen, breathing fire, fighting kaiju-sized bugs. It's the fantasy shmup of your dreams. But when you start playing it, reality sets in. The dragon handles like a semi-truck with a flat tire, enemies swarm you from every single direction, and your massive hitbox makes dodging impossible. It's like piloting a dump truck strapped to wings while the game pelts you with bullets just to see how many quarters you'll spend. By the end, I wasn't rooting for my dragon to save the world, I was rooting for the humans to win, because honestly, the dragon deserved to lose for being so useless, and this is a thought process I have not only for the arcade version, but all the ports as well. They can kick rocks. Created by Doug TenNapel and developed by Shiny Entertainment, Earthworm Jim 2 hit in 1995 after the success of the original. It leaned even harder into surreal humor and weird level design, which critics loved at the time, though not everyone today feels the same. But the game itself, people often describe it as wacky, hilarious, a true 90s classic. I describe it as a plasticized skullfuck in the face of reality and logic. And yet, tried to be funny, right? If your definition of comedy is random nonsense taped together with duct tape, the levels feel like they were designed during an all-night sugar binge. One stage you're a blind salamander, the next you're bouncing in some bizarre quiz show. Nothing flows, the platforming is horrible, and Jim controls like he's made out of wet spaghetti. Fans will defend it forever because of the nostalgia, but playing it now, it's like opening up a capsule full of farts and bad ideas. Sega released Ecco the Dolphin in 1992, a great year, the year that I was born, and it was created by Ed Annunziata. It stood out for being unusually serious and atmospheric compared to the other Genesis titles, mixing marine biology with sci-fi aliens. It quickly became a cult classic, especially in Europe. The funny thing is, people will go to war defending this game. It's beautiful, it's atmospheric, it's art. And yeah, it looks gorgeous, but you know what else is gorgeous? A brick wall. And I don't want to smash my head into that either. Playing Ecco is suffocation in real time. You're constantly hunting for air while slamming into rocks, lost in mazes, and fighting alien jellyfish for reasons I still don't understand. Everyone else was mesmerized by the music and the ocean vibes. Meanwhile, I was over here screaming, "Where the fuck is the air pocket?" If you want to simulate drowning, this is your game. Developed by Sega for the Genesis in 1989, the Revenge of Shinobi was one of the early system sellers. It has music that was composed by Yuzo Koshiro, who went on to make the legendary Streets of Rage soundtrack that we all know and love. Now, ninjas are supposed to be slick, deadly, and unstoppable. The Revenge of Shinobi somehow made me feel like a ninja who failed out of Ninja Academy. The platforming is stiff, the enemies are unfair, and the hit detection feels like it was coded by someone who hated you personally. 1 minute you're slicing enemies, the next you're dead because you didn't do a pixel-perfect jump over a bush! My friends talked about the incredible soundtrack, and yeah, the soundtrack rules, but you know what doesn't rule? Dying 10 times before the chorus even hits. Revenge of Shinobi didn't make me feel like a ninja, it made me feel like the world's worst ninja cosplayer. This is a recent one for me, Alien Resurrection. Released in 2000 for the PlayStation, it was based loosely on the movie of the same name, which came out 3 years earlier. Its twin-stick aiming scheme was so controversial at the time that critics slammed it, though it later became the standard for console first-person shooter games. Some folks call this PS1 title underrated. I called it a crime scene. The aiming system is so bad, it literally forced critics to rethink how console shooters should work. That's its legacy. Not being fun, not being scary, just we fucked up the controls so badly the industry had to fix them. Trying to line up a shot feels like threading a needle while the house is on fire! The aliens aren't terrifying. What's terrifying is knowing I'll never hit one. Congratulations, Alien Resurrection. You're in the history books for sucking. Abe's Oddysee was released in 1997 on PlayStation and PC. It was the debut of the developers Oddworld Inhabitants. The studio hyped it as the first part of a planned 5-game series, and it stood out with cinematic cutscenes, a dark industrial setting, and its unique GameSpeak system where Abe, the guy we play, could communicate with fellow Mudokons to solve puzzles. Critics at the time praised it for being adult and artsy in a way platformers rarely were. Now, I know people love this game. They call it a masterpiece, an artistic triumph, a dark comedy classic. To me, it's a nightmare in slow motion. Abe controls like a tank stuck in molasses. The puzzles are brutal, and half the gameplay is farting at your coworkers before you watch them die horrible deaths. Abe's Oddysee is less a game and more a workplace harassment simulator disguised as art. And the trial and error gameplay? Fuck that. You'll spend 20 minutes figuring out how to cross a single screen only to watch Abe get minced by a meat grinder because you farted at the wrong time. And the worst part, when you finally do save a group of Mudokons, the game guilt trips you if you don't save enough of them. Like, thanks, Oddworld. I wasn't already drowning in survivor's guilt from watching 30 blue guys explode in front of me. Then there was a sequel, right? Oddworld Abe's Exoddus, which came out in 1988, just a year after the first, and it was marketed as an expansion sequel. It added more advanced GameSpeak options, doubled the size of the game, and even threw in pre-rendered cutscenes that pushed the PlayStation hardware to its limit. I gotta give props for that. While the devs had originally planned Munch's Oddysee as the true sequel, Exoddus was created to appease fans and Sony's request for another installment. It's bigger, it's longer, it's meaner, there's more puzzles, more headaches, more reasons for me to hate my life, and brother, let me tell you, I got plenty. Fans call it emotional and moving, I call it being trapped in the worst group project ever. You're babysitting dozens of Mudokons, trying to keep them alive while they actively sabotage you. Imagine leading a field trip where every kid is drunk. That's Abe's Exoddus. It's not fun, it's not moving, it's therapy waiting to happen. And the Mudokons in this one, they have moods. They get sad, they get angry, they literally get fucking trashed. So now, not only do you have to herd these idiots like sheep on meth, you also have to play therapist while they cry or go on strike. Nothing like juggling platforming precision and workplace wellness at the exact fucking same time. At some point, I stopped trying to save them. I was like, all right boys, line up for the grinder. Daddy's tired. The game wasn't challenging to me, it was a punishment disguised as empathy. If Abe's Oddysee was a bad job, Exoddus is when the boss hands you 3 more jobs and says, it's about the journey, kid. No, it's about me shutting the console off before I develop a fucking ulcer. Look, I get it. This is the game that supposedly changed lives. People talk about it like it ended wars, cured polio, and reunited long-lost families. In reality, it gave us a spiky-haired protagonist who spends half the adventure sulking like somebody stole his eyeliner. And to me, Cloud isn't a hero. He's that guy at the party who sits in the corner staring at his shoes until someone asks him, what's wrong? And then when you do ask, you regret it immediately because it spirals into a 15-minute monologue about trauma, clones, and a guy with a sword so big it looks like he's trying to compensate for losing a sword fight in gym class. And everyone insists that the story is deep. No, it's not deep. It's confusing. Every time I try to explain it, I sound like I'm pitching a rejected anime pilot. Okay, so hear me out. There's this giant evil corporation sucking up the planet's life juice, a flower girl who's special for reasons, and the bad guy with a 10-foot sword who wants to drop a meteor on Earth because his alien mom whispered it in his ear from space. Sound good? Good. And then we have the materia system. People call it revolutionary. I call it babysitting a bag of marbles. Want to use fire magic? Better make sure you stick it in the right fucking hole or else you're gonna go into battle armed with nothing but disappointment. It's like trying to save the world while also managing the world's most boring bead collection. But what really kills me is the pacing, right? 1 minute you're grinding against polygonal goblins that look like melted Legos, and the next time you're held hostage by a 20-minute cutscene with characters who move like broken action figures. But I will say in 1997, this was a big deal. It was cinematic, it was new, and it blew people's minds. But you know what else was groundbreaking back in 1997? Dial-up internet. And you don't see anyone begging to log back into AOL chat rooms and listen to their computer scream like a dying robot just to check an email. Some things to me are just better left in the past. And that's it for today's list. What did you think of it? I know I probably ruffled a few feathers here and there, but hey, our experiences with gaming, they're always going to be different, and I cherish that. That being said, what games do you despise that everyone else seems to adore? Feel free to let the community know in the comments section below. Speaking of our community, if you made it to the end of this episode, you're already home with us. We're a gathering of video game enthusiasts that love to remember when life was just a little bit easier to live, and if you align with that, you'll fit right in. Finally, the single most important thing you can do for me is to hit the thumbs up on this video as it directly affects the visibility of the videos and the projects that I work on every single day. As always, from my family to your family, good energy, good vibes. Fortefyre